You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lain. Gardening, it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener. Your host, Ken Lain, here every week, talking about the landscapes of northern Arizona. And we are into the thick of growing right now. My tomatoes are growing like crazy. I mean, they're already up to the top of the cage. Had to reinforce the cage because they're going to be big. So these are indeterminate tomatoes, early girls, I think a black crim and something, a cherry. And so I've got three of them. My peppers are up easily knee high, so they're starting to form peppers. So it's time. If your tomatoes, they aren't growing, if you don't have blossoms, if you've not set some fruit, I've got some golf ball size fruit on my tomatoes already. If you don't have that, you should. Here's an insider tip for you. So they make a product here at the garden center. It's called Blossom Set. It's there to get plants to start to set fruit, not just tomato. Ours, I think it says tomato and pepper set, but really it works on squash, on eggplants, on your vegetable gardens. And what it does, you spritz the foliage once a week. That's what I do. I'll pick a Sunday or something. I'll sip my coffee. I'll spritz my plants, make them happy, and then they start to set blossoms. They'll set the fruit. So it's not a pollinator. What it does, it slows the plants down. You juiced your soil so fast, so rich. The plants are growing like crazy. They put all of their energy into growing foliage, and they literally will forget to set blossoms and fruit. And so the blossom set slows them down, lets them take a breath. They go, oh yeah, that's right. I should be setting fruit by now. I'm already up to the top of the cage. Let's do that. And so they start to set fruit pretty quick, especially when it's a little bit cooler at night. It's been chilly. It's like cooler than normal. It helps the plants will literally start slowing down. They start going, okay, I'm chilly. I'm just going to hibernate here for a moment. When sunrise hits, I'll start growing again. It helps them to start forcing them to set the flowers, basically. Set flowers, bees will do your work, and then they'll start setting fruit, and then all of a sudden you've got that rotation. Once they get into that habit of just forming fruits, they just seem to get in this rhythm. But you need to coax them a little bit, and part of it's an altitude thing. If you've never played with blossom set, you'll find that it's really, really helpful. I usually, when I buy my vegetable gardens, I'm just getting a bottle and I just go to town. And once a week, I hit my plants until they start setting fruit. And then usually I can take the pressure off. What's happened now in my own gardens is now I'm starting to set flowers and fruit. So I've got golf ball sized tomatoes. I'll be picking stuff in a couple of weeks. I'll be having by the end of the month, I'll be having my first fruit come off. Peppers, I'll have that before then. What I'll do is when I start to set some fruit, and they're kind of smaller, I'm now shifting from blossom set. I'm now moving over towards yield booster. Yield booster, it's a liquid. It's liquid calcium. We're also famous for not just not setting fruit early. We're also famous for blossom end rot. That is, the fruit starts to form, but then it gets a rotten spot on the very tip where the flower was, blossom end rot. Or the squash will start to grow and then it just turns yellow and withers and drops off. Those are all indications of calcium deficiencies. And part of it's because of our water is so alkaline. That's what's causing that. And so if you can spritz your plants with yield booster at this point, so I'm shifting over to yield booster when they start having fruit. It's just calcium. Calcium, they absorb it through their foliage and they start to absorb it into the fruits and the foliage, and it just gets rid of that blossom end rot. It makes for bigger fruits, sweeter fruits. A flavor comes out because of calcium. That's why in our fruit and vegetable food, it's 7. So it's 644 is the formula, but it's 7. 6, 4, 4, 7. It's 7% calcium. We know that you're going to struggle with calcium and flavors and fragrance and size of fruits. And so we just juice our homemade organic fertilizer with 7% calcium. We're just going to help you. We know the environment you're growing in. We're all in this together. We're up in the mountains, and you're going to need a special kind of food. That's what it does. So I've done that. And so just for now, if you don't have fruit, the advice I can give you just in this hour we're going to spend together, put blossom set on your plants till they start setting fruit. And once they do, switch it over to Yield Booster. You should have a bottle of both in the garden shed, just ready to go. And once a week, just make your plants happy with those two things. It will be a game changer. The other one that I really recommend. So I was helping a customer yesterday here at the garden center, help work in the lower greenhouse. And she said, Ken, I really, really want that. So my neighbors have this dark black mulch. I love the contrast. Oh, where do I get that? Do you have it? I'm going, we don't sell. That's a dye. It's dyed wood chips. And they dyed it they used actual stain to stain it black or colors. You don't want that in your garden. Trust me. You don't want that. What that is you can buy it at a box store. Go to any box store, you can find that. They'll have it in red, yellow, black, and green. They'll have different colors. What that really is, they're taking old pallets, they chop them up, pull the nails out, dye it, put it in a bag. That's what you're buying. So you're getting wood. It's not a good wood product. It is affordable. That's great. But you're putting dyes into your soil. I would not put that around my vegetable gardens. Anything you're going to eat, I would not put that around there because who knows what kind of chemicals are in the dye. And then pallets they've hauled stuff around for 3 years. Who knows what the wood's absorbed as they deliver stuff around. You just have no control over that. Don't eat anything that you've put this dyed mulch around. I would say the same thing about the rubber products. There's the same thing there's rubber. They take old tires, chop them up, dye them, and then you can put that around your gardens. Don't put that around I would say don't put it in your yard, but don't put it around things you eat at the very least. Don't do that to yourself or your pets or your dog or whatever. Don't do it to your pollinators. Don't put it around your flowers where butterflies and bees are going to take up whatever's in that through the flowers. What you really want to use is shredded cedar. Cedar is it's an organic, natural product. Cedar has a repelling action for bugs. And so it naturally tends to keep the aphids, caterpillars, things out of the earwigs, you can just name them, out of the gardens because they don't like that cedar oil in there. It smells good. But the main thing you're doing right now, it's going to get hot. We're days away from summer. And so the soil can get sunburned. Literally like your skin gets sunburned, your soil can do the same thing. Only instead of the sun baking the soil red, like you would see on your skin, it starts to crack and parch. And as that soil breaks apart or becomes parched or sunburned, it fractures all those new root hairs that were forming. So you're going backwards in time because the sun literally roasted the soil. So right now I'm putting about a 2 to 3 inch layer of cedar bark. Use that cedar bark around my tomatoes, my peppers, my flowers, just things where the soil is exposed. I'm putting a top dressing mainly to keep the sun off. Yes, it keeps the weeds down. There's some other benefits. It holds moisture in, but mainly the reason I'm doing that is to keep the sun from burning the soil and breaking those new root hairs that have been forming for the last 6-8 weeks. And then I'm going backwards in time. It keeps your plants healthier, especially things. So you're growing dinner plate dahlias. It'll be important. You want to keep that moisture. You don't want those roots. You want that plant to focus on those huge flowers, on a better tomato crop, on more peppers or eggplants or cucumbers or whatever it is. Top dress right now before the heat comes back at us, and it will increase production and increase flower size, quantity of flowers for your plants. Don't let your garden's soil be sunburned. Shredded cedar bark makes a difference. Waters Garden companion plants for June are sunburst locust, moonshine yarrow, silverberry, and Hall's honeysuckle.
Ideal at growing up fences, walls, or as a ground cover.
Wind, drought, deer, javelina are no problem.
Hall's honeysuckle is an outstanding mountain vine with fragrant yellow flowers that loves blooming in the summer heat.
An excellent solution for fast-growing screen, even in the poorest of soil.
You'll only find the hardiest vines at Waters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
For a more fruitful garden, increase success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit watersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Waters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.